Welcome to Legacy by Design podcast, where we don't just talk about success, we design it on purpose.
Welcome back to Legacy by Design. I don't know what episode we're on. We're on 6, I think. Today's going to be a little bit different, though. Today, I'm going to record something, but I want you to be able to listen to it multiple times. So it's going to be a little bit different than just a regular podcast that you listen to once and you kind of put it on the shelf and kind of go on about your business. I want this to be something that you can put on repeat, listen to a couple of times so that it really starts to sink in. And I got the idea really from like a meditation type of thing. At night before I go to sleep, I'll put on a meditation or I'll put on some music that has like certain frequencies in it that help you to sleep. The problem with those is you can only do those before you go to sleep. So it's not good for driving. One of my favorite meditations that I listen to is called Daisy Pond. You can look it up on YouTube by Burt Goldman. And one of the things that always makes me laugh is at the very beginning of it, it always gives this disclaimer to say, don't do this in a moving vehicle, which you should know, but they still have to put that disclaimer there. And the idea as I listen to those types of things is I want it to be something that you can listen to on a daily basis, go back to, maybe glean a little bit more information from, take notes on it if you want, or just kind of sit and relax and let it consume it. And the idea is, and I'll get into one of my theories of how you utilize information. And there's like a 4-step process. So today we'll go through that 4-step process of taking in information. We'll go through some affirmations, and I'll also give you a 21-day challenge to listen to this at least once a day, preferably 3 times a day, because just like you eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you should feed your brain breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And this will be, we'll say, like a snack. I don't know if it's a full meal yet. We'll get to that. But it'll be at least a snack that you can do for your brain 21 days, three times a day for 21 days. I wanted to start off, though, is the real premise of this is to build individuals up. I had a dream probably about 6-7 years ago, at least 7 years ago. And no, it wasn't one of those MLK, dreams. It was really a significant dream. And I keep a piece of paper written with the phrase that I heard in that dream. So the dream was, and I only remember pieces of it, but I remember being in this 2-story house. And the downstairs was immaculate. It had wooden floors. The floors were clean. It was more like a museum on the bottom floor. So you had white walls and you had artwork on the walls. And then you had a black staircase that went up to the second floor off to the left side. And this was 7 years ago, and I still can vividly remember this picture in my head. And I remember being in there, and it was quiet, and there was no one there but me. And I go upstairs. And I go upstairs, and as I walk up, I start to see the displays on the second floor are much different than the displays were on the first floor, because they're live displays. So there are, I would say, creatures, animals, entities in these rooms on the second floor, all the way around. And there was a significant one that I was drawn to. And I was drawn to this entity, this being, whatever it was. It was in a glass room by itself, looked perfectly. And the thing that stands out to me is how peaceful the entity or life form looked. So I'll give you the best description I can think of as would be something that you'd understand. So it was kind of like a chihuahua on a treadmill. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but it was a chihuahua on a treadmill. And I remember the chihuahua just looked like tattered and torn, like he'd been through, the roughest life you could ever imagine. And he was just cruising along on that treadmill, but he looked happy. He looked content. He looked like he had been through the war, but had done everything that he was supposed to do to his satisfaction. And this was kind of like his reward, was to be in this room by himself on this treadmill, as happy as can be. And just before I woke up, I remember the phrase going off in my head that said, "From this day forward, I will only let love in. From this day forward, I will only let love in." And that phrase has stuck with me, and it rings in my head sometimes. And that is something that I try to live up to, especially nowadays with all of the craziness that we see on the news, and sometimes out our window or out of our car window as we drive by. It just reminds me that all of that negativity, that toxic information, that's not something that I should let in. I should let in loving things, positive things. It doesn't mean ignore those things, but it means don't consume them to the point that they become part of you, that you take it on, that you carry that negative burden with you. And so that's something that I hope you'll take with you. And then another piece of that, and it's like an onion. More and more information comes from that as I go on this journey throughout my life. And one of the things that recently I've come to realize in prayer and meditation is, just like we go through life looking for role models and looking for ways to do things, we should be samples, and we should look for samples, not examples. So you should look for a sample and be a sample, not an example. I'll explain. That means that an example is what? Example is somebody, you go to school and the teacher puts an example on the board of how you're supposed to do things. These are step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. It's external. You look at it, you either take that information, you choose to either do it that way or find a better way, but it's outside of you, and it stays outside of you. Hello and welcome. I would like to let you know that the new Elite Life Growth System 3-week workbook is now available. The Elite Life Growth System 3-week workbook is now available. In this workbook, you will be provided a framework to gather data about your system and to improve it so that you have the best system of success. This 3-week workbook will allow you to plan, organize, and improve your life and improve your system so that your life can be improved. Every day you'll be able to notate your wins, write a little journal about the day, notate something that you learned, and give yourself an overall score. After 3 weeks, you'll be able to take that data, analyze it, improve, and push yourself forward and increase your ability to be successful more rapidly, more efficiently, more effectively, and most of all, with more agency. If you're interested, check the show notes and purchase one now for you or someone you love. And now, back to the show. Now, a sample is something that is on you, is in you. It's something that you, when you go to Costco and they don't have examples of food, they have samples that they give you. And they give you a sample so that you can taste it, so that you can feel it, so that you can smell it, so that you can consume it. And you consume it and it becomes a part of you. My goal is to be and to teach others how to be samples of the things that they want, samples of the things that they want to become, samples of the things that they want to do and leave as a legacy. And that is what we're doing today. This is a sample. Now, I told you I'd tell you my 4-part theory for taking in information. Part of transformation is you're going to have to take in information. Just like this podcast, just like this information, you're taking it in. And if you want to be a sample, and I want this to be a sample, this is something that external, but if you take it in, if you consume it, now it's a sample. It's something that you've taken in. And so the steps are you consume it, you take it in, you let it rattle around in your head, you bounce it off other information, filter it through what you already know, and then you translate it, meaning you take the information that I'm giving you, that the world gives you, that anybody gives you, and you translate it so that it fits your life, your theory, your values. And then you create something that you can use, be it a plan, be it you listen to this 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, 21 days, just like I suggested. And you create a plan where you write down and go, okay, I'm going to listen to this. I'm going to write down an affirmation. I'm going to put it on my mirror so that I see it every day. That's creating something. And then the final step, the highest level on the pyramid, is when you communicate it, when you teach it. Once you have consumed it, once you've translated and created something that's individual for you, now you go out and teach somebody else. Now you go and communicate it in how you show up. You go out and communicate it in how you speak, or in the things that you create for other people to consume. So you see how this cycle repeats itself. And I say that to encourage you in these times when we're worried about the world just going crazy and all of this on the right and all of that on the left. If you follow those steps, you consume information, you translate, you create, and then you communicate, and you become the best version of yourself that you can be. Thereby, that's a drop, but that drop goes into a bucket. That seed gets planted, and now it can grow, and now it can filter, and now it can become something much bigger than you ever intended. And that's the idea. With that, and I want you to listen to this 3 times a day. Just give it 21 days. There's a book that I recommend, highly recommend, by Og Mandino. And if you're looking at the video, I'll put the picture of it up here. And it's called The Greatest Salesman in the World. And the subtitles, You Can Change Your Life with the Priceless Wisdom of the Ancient Scrolls Handed Down for Thousands of Years. It sounds ominous, doesn't it? And it's just the story of a salesman and him being mentored. And that's where the idea kind of came to me from, because it talks about reading what they refer to as scrolls every day. And consuming, you'll figure out the pattern here, consuming that information and translating and creating a new life, and then teaching that and communicating that to others. And so there's a chapter in here that talks about each day, and it says, I will greet this day with love in my heart, for this is the greatest secret of success in all ventures. Muscles can split a shield and even destroy life, but only the unseen power of love can open the hearts of men. And until I master this art, I will remain no more than a peddler in the marketplace. I'm going to read that one more time. So this is from chapter 9, Og Mandino, the greatest salesman in the world. I will greet this day with love in my heart, for this is the greatest secret of success in all ventures. Muscles can split a shield and even destroy life, but only the unseen power of love can open the hearts of men. And until I master this art, I will remain no more than a peddler in the marketplace. And see, now hopefully you can start seeing the theme is as my dream reminded me, and as the words go through my head, it talks about the power of love. From this day forward, I will only allow love in. I will greet this day with love in my heart. Those are powerful things. And these are counters to what we hear every day. And that's why I really want you to listen to this over and over, to understand that these things that we're seeing in social media, in the news, aren't the norm. They're not all and everyone. Those are spots on the map, not the territory. So we have our 4 steps. So I want you to remember that. You're going to consume information, translate, create, and communicate. You are going to become a sample, not just an example. And part of this process, again, is remember that you are meant to do great things. I'm going to repeat that for you. You were meant to do great things. And one more time, for those in the back that didn't hear me, you were meant to do great things. And think about the evidence of that is the fact that you are here, and it is a miracle that you are still here. You've overcome all of these other things to get to this point. And it may feel as though it's overwhelming and that it's hopeless, but the things that you have overcome at the point in time before you overcame them, you thought the same thing. I think back in my younger days when I worked in a prison in downtown Los Angeles, Metropolitan Detention Center in LA. And I worked the night shift and get off at 6:00 in the morning, being inside all night, you're tired. And I commuted about an hour, and getting off at 6 in the morning, get out of there about 7. So now I'm hitting traffic. The good thing is it wasn't as bad because I was leaving, going outside of LA. But you're tired. So I get to the parking lot. Get into my Hyundai because I'm just starting my career. And I pull out of the parking lot, turn up the music. I'm a little fuzzy, turn up the music, thinking that'll keep me awake. I turn left to get out of this parking lot, and boom, I hit a car. And not just any car, I hit a Jaguar. And for those of you that don't know, a Jaguar is a very expensive car. And now to actually put that on another higher level, I hit a Jaguar and I don't have any insurance because I let my insurance lapse. So now working for the federal government in law enforcement, and I know that we do background checks, and this could be something that would be negative, that could even get me fired because I wasn't following and in compliance with the law. If this person that I hit complains, this could be, the end of my career, and I still have a family to take care of. So I'm stressed out. And I talked to the guy, and I'm nervous. And one of the pieces that fell into place at that point was the person that I hit was somebody that I worked with. I didn't really know him, but he was in uniform, so I could tell, okay. So I gave him my insurance knowing that my insurance was not valid. It had expired. I knew it, but he didn't know it. And to get out of that situation at the moment, I just gave him the information. And he's like, oh, okay, don't worry about it. But I'm stressed out because I know I do not have insurance. So I go home, and I remember tossing and turning all morning long because, remember, I work nights, so this is 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm tossing and turning. I'm frustrated. I'm trying to take care of the baby because my son. And the next day I go back and he calls me. We talk to him. We meet, and he tells me what I already knew, that my insurance wasn't valid. And so we talk for a little while, and then he tells me, well, he had an uncle that owned a body shop, and he would take it to his uncle, let his uncle fix it, and I just had to pay out of my pocket to get it fixed. And he's like, I'm cool with that. You just take care of the bill. And he even let me take care of the bill on payments. So I was elated, thinking that, okay, this is just, I never would have expected that. And I say that little story because in that moment, I worst case scenarioed it to death. And the worst case scenario was I was fired, wife was going to leave me, take the kid, and I was going to lose the apartment. They'd come and repossess the car. I mean, I had all kinds of stories built up in my head about how awful this was going to be. But when it turned out was I just ended up paying for his car, getting things taken care of, and kept my job, kept my career, ended up working in the career in that field, not for corrections, but in law enforcement for almost 30 years. Just remember that in the heat of the moment, it seems like it's a big deal, but down the road, you realize, okay, I overcame that. So with that said, think about something in your timeline, and I like to even create a timeline sometimes of the things that I've overcome to get to this point, of the things that I've accomplished to get to this point. So think about what you've accomplished already to get to where you are today. To think about the things that you've overcome to get to where you are today. Everything from school to bullies to breakups to bills to car payments, all those things you overcame to get to where you are today. And there'll be more things that'll get in the way, but know that the evidence, the sample that says that you'll be able to overcome them is in your own past. And if you want to look for examples, you can look to a Myron Golden, a Jim Rome, a Russell Branson, a Tony Robbins, Coach E. All those people had setbacks, overcame them, and became successful people. The founder of School, I forget my man's name, Hermosi, I think's his name. All those guys overcame things and became successful and gave back. Remember, you were created to do great things. You were created to do great things. You were created to do great things. And remember, greet this day with love in your heart. Greet this day with love in your heart. Greet this day with love in your heart. And I always give myself little reminders, and I challenge you to come up with something that reminds you on a daily basis and in any moment so that you can snap out of this toxicity that's around you in the world. Be it the news, newspaper, social media, you should have something in your mind that you can go to, be it a memory or be it a phrase that will snap you out of it and make you realize the power that you have within yourself. For me, I have that dream. For me, I have a number of little quotes that I'll say. One of my sayings, and feel free to use it, is I expect miracles to happen to me and through me every day. I expect miracles to happen to me and through me every day. I expect miracles to happen to me and through me every day. And when you have something like that in your mind and in your heart, those are the things that when something happens, it kicks in. It goes, okay, what do we believe? What's that sample that you took and you consumed it and it's part of you? Let's go back to that. And that's what I want this to become for you. So how many times we're going to listen to this? We're going to make this our snack or our meal, one or the other. So if it's a snack, 2 times a day, once a day, healthy snack for your brain. If it's a meal, healthy meal for your brain, you're going to do it 3 times, like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So you got the idea, right? This is something that I want you to listen to multiple times, and I want you to use this as a foundation to start your own idea of what you want to become and what you want to do. And the phrases that I've used, I expect miracles to happen to me and through me every day. I was meant to do great things. I was meant to do great things. I will face this day with love in my heart. I will face this day with love in my heart. From now on, I choose to only let love in. From now on, I choose to only let love in. I want you to come up with your own sayings, mantras, mission statements, whatever it is. I want you to develop your own so that you can go to those in times of trouble to remind yourself that you've already accomplished so much and you have so much more to do. Because this journey isn't over. We're just getting started. We're just getting warmed up. Give yourself those phrases, give yourself some time, and give yourself some grace. Most of all, give yourself some love. Thank you. We'll be back next week with special episode where I'll be introducing you to and interviewing a state senator from Jackson, Mississippi, a friend of mine, Ronnie Crudup Jr., and he'll talk about his organization that not only helps the families in the community, but gives the families in the community a place to go to be a community, to enjoy, to use sports and games and fitness as a way of coming together. With that said, thanks again. Face this day with love. Be kind. And I will see you soon.
Legacy by Design would like to thank our sponsor, Peace Pack. Peace Pack is dedicated to forming a more perfect union through transformative action that bridges divides and builds stronger communities across America. Peace Pack believes that meaningful change happens when citizens come together with shared purpose, innovative solutions, and unwavering commitment to democratic ideals. If you'd like to learn more about Peace Pack, go to peacepack.com. That's PIECEPAC.com.